I'll try to make this quick because I know we're not here to listen to speeches and the dogs don't have big attention spans. I just wanted to read a speech that I wrote about adoption, talk a little bit about pit bulls, but I'll try to make it quick. According to the Humane Society of the United States, approximately 5 million pets are euthanized every year. That means 13,698 are killed per day and 570 each hour. 570 pets are killed every hour. Please think about that for a second. That means that while we are here today, 2,280 pets will lose their lives. I say pets will lose their lives because there is very little that differentiates these animals from our fur babies at home. Obviously, the majority of us have a dog, and as hard as this may be, I want you to picture them in your heads right now, sitting in a cold concrete cell, listening to constant barking on death row, and for most, their only crime was being born. Approximately 55% of all dogs and puppies entering shelters are killed, based on reports from 1,038 facilities across America. Approximately 71% of all cats and kittens entering shelters are killed, based on reports from the same facilities. To bring things closer to home for all of us, the city of Hartford, the capital of our state, gives dogs just 10 days to find a home before they are euthanized. And to make their chances even slimmer, the pound is only open 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. 2 hours a day. So in total, these dogs have 18 hours, just 18 hours as their only chance to survive. In Bridgeport, a certain number of animals must be euthanized every month. So there's actually a quota with the lives, the way a police officer must meet his quota giving out tickets. I hope there isn't anyone here who isn't disgusted by this, but if so, I can ensure it. In Connecticut, when an animal is euthanized, they are given an injection with a lethal amount of anesthesia. So if taking a life could ever be considered humane, it would be by this method. Sadly, down south in South Carolina, for example, these poor innocent babies are not so lucky. Down there, it is still legal to use gas as a form of euthanasia. This was very hard for me to research and to share with all of you. It is very graphic, but I feel very necessary to penetrate each of you and expose the reality of the lives of these souls. It is their reality, and I feel we owe it to them to educate ourselves with the truth, as hard as it may be to hear. The animals are crammed into what is usually little more than a metal box. They have no idea what is going on. The gas is then pumped in, and the way the animal dies is excruciating. The gas they are breathing burns their eyes and lungs, and it then causes them to urinate, defecate, and bleed from their eyes, ears, and mouth. During this process, the animals truly do cry. In chambers with windows, there are reports of dogs scratching at the walls, cats ramming at the windows, and ramming themselves against the sides, trying to desperately escape. And there are times when the animals are still alive, clutching to life, and another round is needed to kill them. After it is all over, the animals are usually dumped into a landfill, or worse, they are sent to meat rendering factories to be used as shampoos, gels, cosmetics, fertilizers, and pet food. So with all of this horrific knowledge of what goes on day after day in every shelter, in every town, why do so few people adopt? Why don't we think adoption first when we consider getting a pet? There is a stigma attached to shelter animals that they aren't good enough, as those from breeders or pet stores, that they are used goods. Well, I find it disgustingly ironic that the facts are dogs from pet stores are much more unhealthy and have more medical problems than animals from anywhere else. According to Wayne Pacelle, president of the Humane Society, 99% of all dogs in pet stores are from puppy mills. This is not disputable. Puppy mills breed dogs incestuously and breed mothers continuously until they usually develop tumors from nursing so much. After a female's fertility wanes, they are often killed, abandoned, or sold to another mill to try and get one more litter out of the dog. And all the while, these dogs are kept in shockingly poor conditions. The annual result of all this breeding is millions of puppies, many with behavior and health problems. I urge all of you to watch the undercover show Oprah did on puppy mill investigations, because I know that seeing is what it takes for many people to believe, and that show indisputably exposes the horrific reality of dogs in puppy mills. I truly hope I live to see the day when people realize they have the power to close down these death camps for good by taking a stand against pet stores who enable the mills to stay in business. I've heard people say that there aren't purebreds in shelters. However, the statistics say that 30% of the dogs in animal shelters are purebreds. There are also private rescues for almost every breed out there, so that is no longer an excuse. I will never understand the reasoning behind breed stereotyping. A good dog is a good dog. Any dog can be made vicious, and this is strictly at the hands of the owner. We are all here today because of a breed that is so worthy of defending. We feel they are entitled an entire day to educate people on the truth on their behalf. And although Pitbull Awareness Day is an amazing opportunity and one I am truly honored to be a small part of, it saddens me to the core that we need to have this day. But the truth is, we do. Most shelters, especially those in inner cities, usually have mainly pit bulls. This is true because they are today's media scapegoat, the way Dobermans and Rottweilers were years ago. Their reputation is as bad as it is undeserved, and I hope people are here today because they care enough to know the truth and so are seeking it from knowledgeable people, like those of us who own them and work with them. Pit bulls are sadly used as a status symbol by people who have little regard for life, human life, and especially animal. Unfortunately, because of this, they have become a symbol to others as well, one that is very far from the all-American fluffy dog most people want to take home. What these people don't realize is that their loyalty and willingness to please their owner is the key part to their popularity with those so willing to hurt them. What most people also don't know is that pit bulls rank among the highest of all breeds for temperament testing. And I'm sure even more are shocked to know that in England these dogs are known as the nanny dog because they are so good with children. I know that every pit bull owner here today experiences the prejudice firsthand alongside their dog. And as a pit bull owner, it's inevitable to become defensive over this innocent breed who has no voice of their own. I know I don't need to encourage any of you to spread the truth to people. Our little community is always more than ready for that. But to those of you who are here today learning about this breed for the first time, I urge all of you to spread the word far and wide. In the pit bull community, we have a saying, to know them is to love them. And it's true, I've never met a pit bull owner who didn't want another one. But until we can reach enough people with the truth and break through the stigma our society has attached to them, many, many more pit bulls will be killed in ignorance and fear. We are supposed to be compassionate as humans, and we live in a civilized and educated part of the world, which just makes what we do to animals that much more frustrating. I can't quite come to terms with getting emails encouraging people to sign petitions to ensure the prosecution of someone who has dragged a dog by their vehicle or decapitated it with a chainsaw. I don't want to be part of a society where a petition is required to see to it that the soulless being who hurt an animal in this way gets the punishment that they deserve. Gandhi once said, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way it treats its animals. So I wonder what Gandhi's thoughts would be about how far our nation's morality has progressed. Our theme for today, so let me get back to that, is the importance of spaying and neutering. I believe since it was man who domesticated cats and dogs, it makes it our responsibility to maintain their population so that senseless slaughtering is not looked at as an option. Spaying and neutering our pets is entirely crucial to ending the flood of unwanted animals entering shelters every day. There is so much literature and assistance programs out there to encourage spaying and neutering, so there is no excuse for anyone not to do this. I think it's like kids who start smoking today. It's not like long ago when no one knew any better. We know the dangers and effects it will have on animals and on society. It's a no-brainer, and I am saddened by people who feel it is not their obligation as a pet owner. Less breeding means less unwanted pets, which means less killing, and I hope we can all agree that's a good thing. I know that some people think that rescuing one dog or cat will not make a difference in the world of animal adoption and rescue, but to them, my response is the starfish story. For those of you who have already heard it, I apologize. Once upon a time, there was a man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach before he began his work. One day, as he was walking along the shore, he looked down the beach and saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself at the thought of someone who would dance to the day, and so he walked faster to catch up. As he got closer, he noticed the figure was that of a young man and that what he was doing was not dancing at all. The young man was reaching down to the shore, picking up small objects and throwing them into the ocean. He came closer still and called out, "Good morning. May I ask what it is you are doing?" The young man paused, looked up and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean." "I must ask then, why are you throwing starfish into the ocean?" asked the somewhat startled wise man. To this, the young man replied, "The sun is up and the tide is out. If I don't throw them in, they'll die." Upon hearing this, the wise man said, "But young man, do you not realize there are miles and miles of beach, and there are starfish along every mile? You can't possibly make a difference." At this, the young man bent down, picked up yet another starfish, and threw it into the ocean. As it met the water, he said, "I made a difference to that one." There are times when anyone involved in rescue and fostering questions their ability to make a difference and whether or not their efforts will make enough of an impact. It's all too easy to lose hope in this line of work. I know that personally I use this story to refuel my hope and determination for what seems to be an unreachable cause at times. I have personally adopted 2 dogs myself and fostered over a dozen more over the past few years. And now that I have seen this world, I know that 99% of the things I've heard and were told were complete BS. There is no greater feeling than saving a life, but it is me who is in debt to my dogs for showing me a side of life I would have never known and helping me learn the importance of using my voice to help those without one. In closing, pet overpopulation and its many tentacles reaches into our homes, neighborhoods, shelters, rescues, local and national governments. Over $2 billion is spent annually by local governments to shelter and ultimately destroy 5 to 8 million adoptable dogs and cats due to a shortage of homes. It blows my mind that in a society of pet lovers, pet supplies being a billion-dollar industry, we can also, in the same place, let these soulless acts be carried out on unsuspecting and undeserving animals who only want the same things our beloved pets want: love, food, and shelter. They are the same biological needs that we have as humans. Euthanasia is a disease, an insidious disease, and it will continue spreading until it reaches our hearts and consciousness collectively. We respond to this disease with denial, much like any other terminal illness. To protest its existence doesn't dissolve it. To look the other way doesn't halt its progression. Our only hope is to become aware of its dangers, yield to the knowledge that will slow its advance, and actively fight it as we would any pestilence. Thank you.
Yeah.